Okay, this is going to be a 120 Q&A. Number one, it's the test. The proper name's Sean
Sibley.
Sibley. Sean Sibley. Okay. He lost his wife.
Yes.
Did he explain that any more to you?
He said yes.
What did he say?
He said that obviously, without saying much, that she was not with him and that it was just entirely painful for him to talk about.
When he had said, so he's there in this emotional state and he's telling you that he had lost his wife. What did you think he had meant at that point? Did he tell you, did he put this into any type of time context?
Yes.
What did he say?
Well, I had asked him as far as the time frame is, had it been long, basically. And he stated that this was the first holidays that he would be spending without her.
From what he told you about losing his wife and it being the first holidays, did you have the impression that this was recent or ancient?
Recent.
So, from what was going on, you thought this was a recent occurrence.
Yes.
Did you ask him or confront him at all why he had not told you?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Did the discussion turn to if he was going to tell you that before?
No.
Did the defendant at some point in time say that he had meant to tell you at a later point in time?
Well,
Did the defendant ever mention having a conversation with Sean Sibley?
no.
Did you ask him why he told you on December 9th?
I'm sorry?
Did you ask the defendant why he told you on December 9th?
Not really.
Well, he told you that he had been married before and he had lost his wife.
Right.
Did you wonder why? Or did you ask him, why are you telling me this now?
My response to him is that what I could answer it in that way
Sure,
as far as my response.
sure. What did you tell him?
My response was I thanked him for sharing that with me, it being so painful for him, and understanding that it was hard for him to do so.
Did he respond back?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said that I was amazing and that he was intrigued by me and by my response.
So during this time that he's telling you all this, did his emotional state, the stomach churning, the trouble with the words, did he continue to cry during that time period?
During what time?
During the time that he's telling you he had lost his wife and it's the first holidays without her.
Yes, he was emotional.
Did the topic turn to your relationship with him?
Yes.
How did that change or what was said?
After he stated it was the first holidays without her, I asked if he was ready for a relationship with me.
Did he say anything back?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said absolutely.
After he made his statement to you, did he stay or did he leave?
He stayed for a little while.
Did you continue talking
Yes.
and describe for us his emotional state after the time that he had told you that he was ready for a relationship with you?
At that point, he seemed relieved that he was able to share this information with me.
Did he appear to stop crying?
Yes,
Did he start to calm down?
yes,
At some point in time, does he finally leave the house that afternoon?
yes.
As he's about, okay, this will be test 120, Q&A number 2, proper names, Christmas, Miller, saxophone, Eastern Hospital, Cherry Street, and 8. You were not paid Christmas?
This wasn't Christmas.
You are still working for Miller, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Were you off any time after August 11, 1996 from work?
Well, I lost some time, but I didn't lose time under a doctor. I lost time because I wasn't able to carry on my normal work, and this is without pay to me.
What difficulty do you have in working now?
Well, now I don't have too much. Every now and then, if I lift wrong with my left side, I can feel a little pain
And in your shoulder or where?
in my shoulder.
Is that your left shoulder?
That's right.
What other pain do you still have now other than that?
That is it.
In other words, you are all right except for the pain you may have if you lift wrong.
Well, I don't know how you mean.
Are you hurting anywhere else from this accident other than if you lift wrong?
I don't know whether the headaches I get every now and then come from the accident or not.
You had headaches before the accident, didn't you?
I have had headaches, but not like this.
What is the difference in this kind?
Well, if I strain at anything, it will cause my head to ache
Where does your head ache?
down across my eye.
Down to your left eye?
That's right.
Do you participate in any sports or do you have any hobbies?
No, I don't. I have a band.
You play in a band?
Yes, I do have a band.
Do you play an instrument yourself?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what instrument do you play?
I blow saxophone and play drums.
You do this for pleasure or for work?
It's business.
In the last 6 months, how many engagements have you played and where were they?
You got me there because we play sometimes 5 nights a week, sometimes 6 nights a week, and I couldn't average that out for you.
All right. In other words, is that just during the holiday season primarily?
No, this is year round.
Who else is in the band with you?
Well, my band has changed a little, but since the accident, I have got a new guy as I have got guys that I didn't have when I did have the accident.
Do you have anybody that is still with you now that was with you before the accident?
No, I don't.
All new personnel?
Yes.
What hospital, if any, have you been in since this accident?
Since I was released, I haven't been in any.
You haven't been in the hospital since this accident?
No, I haven't.
Were you hospitalized in the previous accident that you referred to as happening 2 or 3 years ago?
No, I wasn't.
So you haven't been hospitalized within the last 3 to 5 years?
Other than for the penicillin allergy,
And this was in what hospital?
it was the same hospital, Eastern Hospital.
How much is your doctor bill?
I don't know.
Do you know how much your hospital bill was?
No, I don't.
Have you ever been in the armed forces?
No, I haven't.
Were you turned down for some particular reason?
No, I wasn't.
You have never been drafted?
No,
Where is your draft board?
it was up on Cherry Street 8 or somewhere up in there.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No, I haven't.
What can't you do now that you could do before this accident?
I wouldn't. No,
Is there anything?
I.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is a Q&A test number 1 at 100 words a minute. Proper names: Mr. Sherman, Honor, Mr. Rosenberg, Adams, Mr. Adams, Mr. Lane, North Shore Hospital. Mr. Sherman, you say you stepped in a puddle covered with snow. What do you mean by that?
There was a hole covered with snow. As I stepped in the hole, my foot buckled under me.
Which foot was it?
The right foot.
Now, when you stepped into the hole, your foot buckled under you. Then what happened?
I fell as if in a sitting position.
Where was your right foot when you fell?
It was twisted under my left foot, underneath my leg.
Mr. Sherman, did you see this hole before you stepped into it?
No, sir.
Did you know of the existence of this hole?
I did not.
Tell His Honor and the members of the jury how you know it was a hole that you stepped into.
After I looked around to see if there was any traffic coming, I started to cross the street. The first step I took, my foot went in the hole. When I fell, I yelled and 2 fellows came running over.
Before we get to that, Mr. Sherman, why were you unable to see the hole before you stepped into it?
Because it was covered with snow.
All right. When you fell, you say a couple of fellows ran over to you. Did you let out a yell?
Yes, I did.
Who were these fellows?
One was Mr. Rosenberg.
That is the gentleman sitting in court here?
Yes, sir.
Who was the other fellow?
I can't recall his name.
Was it Adams?
Yes, it was.
Now, Mr. Sherman, are you able to tell us how wide or how deep this hole was that you stepped into?
I guess it must have been about 5 or 6 inches deep anyhow.
How do you know that?
I noticed when I went to get up that the snow had been pushed away where I fell.
Who picked you up?
Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Adams.
Who else was there?
Why, Mr. Lane came running over. Then they started to help me cross the street.
How far did you get before you fell again?
I did not even reach the middle of the street.
Who picked you up this time?
Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Adams.
How did they pick you up?
Well, they took hold of me, one on each side. I told them that my leg hurt and I couldn't walk.
Was Mr. Lane there too?
He was coming over while they were helping me up.
Where did Mr. Rosenberg and Mr. Adams take you?
They took me around the corner where I work.
Mr. Sherman, before you fell into this hole, did you not know of the existence of the hole?
No, sir, I did not.
Where did they take you from the place where you work?
They took me to the emergency room of North Shore Hospital.
Tell His Honor and the members of the jury what they did for you at the hospital and how long you stayed there.
First, the doctor.
Okay. And this will be 100 Q&A, test number 2, and there are no proper names on this one. I take it you were stopped at a stoplight or a stop sign.
Yes, it was a red light.
You said a while ago that what made you notice something was going on was that the other driver appeared to get out of his truck. Is that correct?
He was coming out on the driver's side.
Do you remember what the driver was wearing?
No, not really. He might have had a tank top on.
Do you remember what kind of truck he was driving?
No, not really. It was a large brown truck.
Was it a pickup truck or a van?
It was closed, so not a pickup.
Do you recall at that time how close the truck was to the blue car in front of it?
To me, it seemed like a reasonable distance that you would expect a vehicle to be stopped.
What happened after the truck driver got out of his truck?
He walked up to the blue car in front of him and started yelling and pushing on the car.
Could you hear what he was yelling?
I couldn't make out the words.
How do you know the truck driver was yelling?
I could hear the sounds, but I couldn't hear what the words were.
Did the truck driver appear to you to be angry?
Yes, he certainly did.
Were you able to see clearly when the driver got out of his truck and went up to the car in front of him?
Like I said, there was a car in front of me, and the truck driver walked up to the car in front of them.
How far away do you believe you were from the blue car the truck driver walked up to?
I was 2 cars away.
Did you see the truck driver actually touch and push the car?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe for us where the truck driver touched the blue car and then pushed it?
It seemed to be right around the door frame on the driver's side.
Did you notice, were you able to see who was in the blue car?
There was a driver and a passenger.
Were you able to see what they were doing when the truck driver came up to their car?
I couldn't see what they did, but they started honking the horn of their car.
Did you have the windows of your car down at that point?
Yes, I did.
Did you have your driver's side window down?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice if the driver of the blue car had the windows of the car up or down?
They had all the windows up.
What happened once the truck driver began pushing on the blue car?
Well, he started sort of rocking the car, and then I heard a window smash.
Could you see if the truck driver had something in his hands?
Yes, it looked like he had a sledgehammer.
You saw the driver of the truck with a sledgehammer?